Welcome back. This is San Diego City Firefighters podcast. I'm Mark Morrison, and this is George DeWater, our president. George, welcome.
Thank you. We're back.
We're back. Yes, we are. And in a time of turmoil, we have had no shortage of things keeping us busy.
No. And the irony, right? Our first episodes, we spoke of what could be, right? What this summer may be. And we're actually now living it. We're seeing it, right? Not only have we had significant incidents, we can even speak to the incident up the freeway in Orange County, right? We are all hazard departments. And what the public is seeing is the good work firefighters do day in and day out. And it's unique. It's nuanced. It's not just putting out a particular structure fire. Something like a hazmat incident or what happened just days ago in Sorrento Valley speak to all the different disciplines we have.
Oh, I think that's a great catalyst because recently there have been a lot of discussions, and I'd even go so far as to say some debates as to what public safety actually truly means. Yes. And on Tuesday, we had a stark reminder of what public safety actually means. 50-foot flame lengths racing towards neighborhoods, evacuation orders. Grab your family, loved ones, and anything that you can get in your hands and go. You are in danger. All the while, our members are racing towards that danger to mitigate it. Our members are the ones getting into those neighborhoods and putting a stop on a fire that could have burned up multiple structures, harmed countless people, and it's our members that are out there putting it on the line and succeeding like we saw in Sorrento Valley. That is public safety, period.
Exactly. And by no means did we want this to come true.
No.
But this was a month ago when we discussed this. The importance of having that second helicopter during, the summer weather events is crucial. As an example, this particular fire, we did not have that second helicopter. We had our primary helicopter, but at this point in time in the calendar, we would have had that second helicopter. And so out of the gate, we would have had 2 helicopters responding. Now, did we get support from Cal Fire? Absolutely. The fixed wing, the multiple helicopters, absolutely. But it is incumbent upon us to get to these fires quickly. And we've said it before. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds in terms of the wonkiness of firefighter speak, but taking the heat out of the fire, giving our crews the opportunity to then get boots on the ground and do the work they need to do. That's why these aircraft are so important.
Oh, and you hit the nail on the head. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground are what public safety is defined as. Yet somehow, through these budget cuts, the fire department, public safety, because we are public safety, absorbed cuts.
Yes.
While others didn't. It is beyond comprehension that we could bear witness to something happening in the heart of our city, yet the next day, we're absorbing cuts. And as a matter of fact, and I think this is kind of a segue into our trip down to council to advocate on behalf of our hardworking members, we went down there. And again, bomb squad being cut, we had a little taste. Fire engine 1, 201, those 2 fire engines, gone. Why? Because resources were spread thin. So they had to reallocate fire engines to cover other geographical areas because there were multiple units at this Sorrento Valley fire. This is what happens when you close down units. There's only a handful remaining to respond in these areas where other fire engines went to go fight this big fire. And that is what we are looking at when we shut down Fire Engine 1 or Fire Engine 201 because the bomb squad has a response. And again, just a little taster of what happens when you have a brownout-like effect with units being shut down.
Yes. And when people see what we call as a brush apparatus or a brush engine, that means those firefighters removed their gear, went onto that brush engine, and then deployed. But that fire engine, that fire truck, and that firehouse is no longer staffed. And so that is really important to understand that as resources thin out. Sure, we can call for mutual aid, but that might be City of Chula Vista coming into San Diego. What does a response time look like for that? Especially if you're choking, right? You're in cardiac arrest. Time is of the essence. So by no means is this a fear campaign, but we need to make it very clear that we are resource dependent. Those boots on the ground are imperative to the success in terms of whether it be a hazardous materials event or a wildland fire.
Oh, agreed. Because I would say that there's a fine line between fear mongering and letting people know, hey, this is what a potential outcome is. And you mentioned choking, one of the most appalling and tragic stories of the brownouts. When a little child choked to death across the street from a fire station that was running a call in a district that had a unit that wasn't staffed. That is exactly what happened. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the alternate universe looks like had that engine been there, but I know it wouldn't have hurt. It would have absolutely impacted the outcome to some degree. But again, we're driving down these similar roads, having full knowledge of what can potentially be the outcome, which is tragedy, which is something that we are sworn to prevent as public safety.
And even Mayor Gloria has spoken to that Sentinel event, and he was actually a council member back then.
Right.
And to this day, he remembers it vividly, and he has made a point to say, I do not want to brown out ever, right? But we're on this brink. We keep speaking to this, right? Being on the cusp, being at the brink, the breaking point. We're there.
Right.
And so this is 3 years of budget cuts. What does next year bring? There's still a structural deficit.
Yes, there is.
So we need to prioritize public safety, not just say it, but do it. We need to see those lights light up at City Council green in terms of, right, supporting public safety. It's more than just saying it these days.
And I think we are playing a dangerous game of throwing that term around too loosely. Public safety.
As we know, our public safety partners are struggling just as much. You look at the lifeguards, they're struggling. Our police department, our police brothers and sisters who we run most of our calls with, they are struggling. So by no means are we saying, hey, this is just a fire department problem. It is not. But we are willing to highlight it, make a point to say public safety can't be hijacked in terms of, hey, everything's public safety. Because if everything's important, nothing's important.
100%.
So, Mark, I think one thing we can cover, which so many people have asked because it's been, widely circulated in social media, is this idea of a sea of red, right? So we had a whole council chamber full of red shirts. Can you kind of explain what our thoughts were behind that and who showed up?
It was a testament to how this workforce and this membership are just not going to accept the status quo any longer. It's been multiple decades where we just don't see any sustained progress. And we had folks show up with their children, their spouses, because every single person in one of those red shirts is directly impacted. So what we did is we went to City Council, and the idea was we had the opportunity to speak to the challenges of recruitment and retention. And obviously, a lot of that is predicated on pay and benefits. So our idea was to go to council and to really make it clear. We are prepared to be an ally. We are prepared to be problem solvers. We want to work together. Being bombastic and throwing your sucker in the sand, that's just not, it's not a grown-up thing to do, for one. But two, it doesn't solve anything. And we as Local 145 have historically been willing partners in trying to identify, hey, how do we keep the 8th largest city's public safety response in terms of fire operating at the highest levels? Because that is what this community deserves, period. Absolutely. And our members showed up essentially to support us in letting council and everybody who makes a decision in this city, making them aware of the fact that we're willing partners, but we will not be the bottom. We can't tolerate that. What we do, there is too much at stake. It is literally life and death. It's not hyperbole. This is what we deal in. We deal in danger, we deal in tragedy, we deal in all of these things, and it's our job. It's our job to hold the line. So our members showed up because, unfortunately, the city of San Diego City Firefighters, have been at the bottom of the compensation studies for almost 3 decades. At the bottom. And we were simply saying, we don't want to come here and scream, we need to be at the top. But please, don't signal to our membership that somebody doing this identical job in Los Angeles or Chula Vista or in our county, that this work is more valued. We care more in these other agencies than we do right here at home. We swore an oath in this city to protect these citizens. The same oath that people in Los Angeles did, the same people in Fremont did. Yet, we're allowed to be at the bottom. That does not show a commitment to public safety and ensuring that we have the most talented workforce that's out there. And the stakes are too high to allow for us to be in that position, period. And George, you've been here longer than I have. How does this make you feel when you see the membership come together after all this time and say enough is enough?
Absolutely. And you actually said it. How do I go back to my fire station? And I think you said my 22-year-old firefighter, how do I keep them from leaving the city of San Diego and going to Orange County? All right. I'm fortunate enough to remember back when Brian Fennessy was our fire chief. Right? Where did he go from here? He went to Orange County, right? And he made no bones about being more than comfortable of recruiting out of this geographical region. He knew how well we were trained. He grew up here. He knew us. And he was proud to say, if you can't pay them, I will.
No, and that's a great point. And one of the things that I tried to articulate to shed a light on one of the reasons that we got here is because of how incredible our membership is, how incredible firefighters all around the world are. But here in San Diego, we will get it done. We don't have the option of not. There's too much on the line. People's lives are depending on us taking action immediately. And because we have that mindset, it's like, okay, we've got to do more with less. And that's just what we have to do. We don't have the option of waiting to see if things get better. We just don't. It's not, by virtue of our profession, we just don't have that option. So, and I get it. It gets built into your psyche to some degree as you promote up the ranks. And when we talk about, hey, these resource reductions are going to hurt us, the workforce is fine. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. We always do. Oh, hey, losing these straight day positions. The workforce is fine. We'll figure out recruiting and retention when the money gets better. And this is one of the things I meant to bring up at council, but I was so passionate about how I was trying to deliver the message. If you had a family member and someone said, hey, how's your mom doing? She's fine. That doesn't mean fine. It usually means the polar opposite. It usually means, hey, do I need to ask some follow-up questions? Can I help you? Like, is there anything wrong? But we have been fine for 3 decades, and look at where it's gotten us. It's gotten us into a position where we're staring down the barrel of a potential outcome that's consistent with what we experienced after Prop B, where people thought, okay, I'm going to come to San Diego, major department, great training, terrible pay. I'm going to get my experience, and then I'm going to go to LA and say, hey, I was a firefighter in San Diego for 3 years. And they're going to say, hired. Brian Fennessy made it very clear. Show me that you're from San Diego. I mean, and obviously this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but interview's a informal process. You're in. Right. Why? Because our folks are awesome. They do great work, and they're an asset, and they're sought after everywhere else. And if we continue to remain at the bottom, where do we think all of our talent is going to go? I've had discussions about this with chiefs throughout the last several years. And if you look at the rank structure of OCFA, of some of these other big departments, Former San Diego firefighters are now their upper management. Why? Because they were the talent. But they went somewhere that valued their work more than this city has. And we cannot tolerate that any longer as Local 145.
But what else are we seeing in terms of the landscape out there? It's not like these other municipalities aren't struggling with money. Let's make that very clear.
100%.
San Francisco is a great example. City of Los Angeles is a great example. And they're both comparable agencies in our studies.
Correct.
So it's apples to apples,
Yes,
right?
it is.
But when you look at the priorities they're setting in terms of public safety, it's just different. And that should be emulated by our leadership here, our city leadership, our fire management leadership, to say, what are they doing there to retain their people? And it's multifaceted. It's not any one thing. It's leadership, sure, pay, benefits, but it's a lot more than that. We have a wonderful culture here, and you touched on that. That's why I stayed here. I was originally from Los Angeles, but this culture is something unique. I love this city. I love this workforce. I'm staying. But not everyone can say that, right? And I'm a realist. When I bought a house, very different than what a young firefighter can buy in today's world, right?
Night and day.
With today's money. And I feel so bad. I hear stories of firefighters living out of a van. Unacceptable, unacceptable. As the president of this organization, that troubles me. And it should trouble every decision maker in this city.
Agreed. And I know that you're from Los Angeles, George, which is the only reason I'm okay with you being a Dodger fan, and we'll let that slide. But that being said, you are 100% correct. The fact that we have firefighters, and it's devastating because it is a fundamental lack of hope. It's a lack of hope. How can I start a family? How can I buy a house? How can I establish a life here when I'm looking everywhere else and we are just not comparable? We don't have the ability to compete. And as a firefighter paramedic who is in high demand and short supply, and that's reflected in our staffing, why would you come here? Why would you come here? So, it just further demonstrates how, I'm going to steal your line earlier, if everything's a priority, then nothing is a priority. And I really appreciate Dr. Jen Campbell speaking to the fact that if you are an elected official, your number one job is to provide safety to your citizens. Yes. And yet again, for the 20th time, and I'll say it another 100, we are public safety, period.
Well said.
With a lot of this being said, one thing I do want to emphasize is the feedback that we've gotten from the community. It's moving. There's a lot of people who are out there who have really been demonstrating their support and their appreciation for what we do and what service we provide. And it has been an incredible, incredible thing to witness and to feel people rallying around us in the community. And I'd be remiss in doing any of this without saying thank you. Thank you for all of your support. It means the world to us for you to champion our cause. And we've really been trying to rally behind any elected official who is going to prioritize public safety. That being said, there are so many things that you can do to be more engaged as a citizen. Obviously, supporting those who support public safety. Really demonstrating a priority with your elected officials to make sure that they're doing what's necessary to keep you safe. But George, there's other organizations that the community can engage in or other activities. Can you speak to some of the things that the everyday citizen in San Diego can do or show up for?
Absolutely, because it's not just a matter of going down to City Hall. A lot of people see, well, how do I access City Hall? Does it even matter whether I go down there, fill out a speaker slip, and even have something to say?
Right.
Well, we would encourage people absolutely do that, but absolutely get involved in your communities, right? Community town councils. There's fire safe councils coming out of the fires of Los Angeles. What we came to understand is communities have to be part of this dialogue. the success out of brush management, that can't just be us as government telling people how to live, how to care for their homes, how to fireproof their homes. That has to be a two-way conversation. Education, sure, but not in terms of enforcement, not in terms of a ticket, but buy-in, right? And so community town councils, right, fire safe councils are dealing with these exact issues. In future episodes, we will have subject matter experts into what Zone Zero looks like, right? That's going to be a controversial issue in upcoming episodes. But it's an opportunity for the public to get engaged. Please follow us on social media, right? It's such an opportunity to get educated on our issues. But I've always said this. We respect everybody that goes to City Hall. It's not us against them. Whether it's people from Balboa Park, the volunteers, we go up, we congratulate them. We say thank you for the work you do in whatever it might be, whether it's Balboa Park, whether it's the symphony, we are part of this community, and we feel like that is our community.
Absolutely. And you touched on Los Angeles. The fact of the matter is our members will always answer the call, and they will do everything in their power to deliver the highest level of service, fire protection, life safety to the citizens and everybody for that matter, even the visitors of our beautiful city. But it is all of our responsibility when we talk about events in terms of Los Angeles and the Palisades fire to come together and do everything we can to prevent this. And it takes all of us, the firefighters, the community, working together, and all of the organizations and opportunities that you brought up really are a really gentle reminder as to, hey, get involved. We can't do this alone. We need you. We need you. Please come out and help your San Diego City firefighters. So, George, any closing thoughts?
You said it well, Mark. I think our opportunity, I'll say opportunity to speak to not just decision makers, the city council, the mayor, but our opportunity to engage with the public, the media for that matter. We had so many interviews coming out of your speech, right? The idea of what a budget cut really looks like. We want to thank the media for hosting, putting us on multiple platforms. We want to thank them as well, because without them, we couldn't amplify our voice.
No, very well said, George. Well, that wraps up another installment of our podcast. Thanks for coming out, George. It's always a great opportunity to have a sit-down discussion with you and share the message, get people to understand what it is that we do and what we need.
Yes, and thank you.
Thank everyone for tuning in. I truly speak on behalf of the over 1,000 men and women who represent and make up San Diego City firefighters. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, whatever platform you're on. Jump on, see what's new, see what you can learn, and join us again. Thank you very much. Catch you next time.